Hello and welcome back to StartRight's training. Today we will be exploring a whole new different topic. So if you have questions about last week's topic, please feel free to email me or please ask your facilitator. Today we will be exploring and working on COR Advantage here. COR Advantage is a whole child assessment tool. Whole child meaning to say it looks at the children's abilities and not just one aspect but all of the aspects. It's a well-balanced tool that StartRight is using to assess children from birth to preschool. The COR Advantage is designed based on research and it allows teachers to observe children's development in a natural setting or in an activity. It's not formal testing like how you and I grew up to be. The COR basically uses observations and basically just noting down what teachers see and what you hear. Let's go. Right, so today we'll be talking about COR Advantage, and again, if you see me looking at this side, I'm reading my notes. Alright, without further ado, let's head right into training. COR Advantage. By the end of the training, you should be able to use observation methods to write anecdotes. You guys will know how to write anecdotes after this. And then you'll be able to score your child according to the anecdotes that you have written. So the whole purpose of this training is really to teach you how to write and teach you how to score your anecdotes. If you have questions about COR, this can be a really heavy subject, to be honest with you. So if you have any questions, I want you to write at the back of your notes. Just write all the questions that you have and you see whether the questions will be answered during the whole session. Or if not, please feel free to ask because I'm more than happy to answer your questions, but I just need to know them. Okay, so let's start. First of all, what is the COR Advantage? As I've mentioned earlier in the introduction, COR Advantage is researched and is developed by the High Scope Research Foundation. So it's not created by me. We are using the assessment done by High Scope. StartRight focuses on the 8 content areas. 8 content areas, and they are approaches to learning, social and emotional development, physical development and health, language and literacy and communication, science and technology, mathematics, creative arts, social studies. And each content area comprises items that address key concepts in early learning of 34 items. So these are the main headers in your categories, and then you will see so what I read just now is approaches to learning, social emotional development, and then the little items A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, all the way until J, J. I am not going really deeply into this 8 content because it can be super long. So what I'm going to do is in your notes, there is an empty spot. I just want you to pick up a little bit here and there. You don't have to know greatly in detail as of now. If you want, you can read through it, but if not, just wait for the training to happen. There's too many to talk about right now, but I am just going to go like a bullet train and try and hit the main points of this content. Number 1, approaches to learning. You see in the first few pages of your scoring guide. Approaches to learning focuses on how children think about learning, whether children like learning, whether they enjoy learning. We want children to have a positive attitude towards learning. I remember when I was growing up in school, I hate going to school. And when children start to hate going to school, chances of them learning is very slow and little because the mindset it's already blocked. Alright, so the whole idea of learning, especially something new, we want them to have a positive attitude towards learning. This positive attitude will help children to engage with school, and it will help them to succeed in life. When they love coming to school, they love doing the things at school. We want them to plan, make decisions, solve problems, think. We want them to think and process what they have done and what they have learned. Basically, approaches to learning speaks about how children explore, discover, and make decisions. Alright, so A, B, C, if you turn to, I think it should be page 10 in your notes. You have that content, like a menu in your notes. Approaches to learning talks about initiative and planning, problem solving with materials, and reflection. So, how we talk about planning small group time, large group time according to COR, approaches to learning is not like that. Approaches to learning, you need to watch them in a natural setting and hear them, and it happens all during choice time. On preschool, we call it work time. Alright, so when you have choice time and we ask children, what do you want to do today? You have the house area, block area, art area, science area, or whichever area that you have. You can ask them what they want to do. When they say they initiate what they want to do, that is initiative and planning. When they come to you, teacher, I don't know how to do this, or help me. Generally, it goes with problem solving with materials because they can't seem to do something and they need help. So for teachers, don't jump straight to help them. Give them room to, I think you can try pushing harder. Maybe you try the other way. So we try to use our words to guide them before jumping in to help them. Alright, so that is problem solving. And then when children manage to solve something, they'll be super happy. Okay, and reflection. After they have done everything, you can sit down with them and during the reflection time while they're drinking milk, what did you do today during choice time? Get them to tell you, because these are reflections. Next time we want children to reflect on their work. Look at this essay that you have written here. What did you learn about it? What did you change? What would you change about it? So you give them reflection questions, then they can know how to redirect themselves. They teach themselves, and then we learn. Next one. Social and emotional development. Oh, look at that girl. Social and emotional development focuses on how children express their own emotions. As children develop and grow, they learn to identify their emotions and gradually learn how to regulate their feelings. That means they learn how to understand their emotions and they learn how to label their emotions. I'm happy, I'm sad. I miss my mommy, I want my mommy. And they learn how to control their feelings, because you can imagine if we are adults and we don't regulate our feelings, we just throw a tantrum on the floor. I don't want to do this. As adults, we have learned how to regulate our emotions, and children are still in that process. So give children a break. Children also develop an understanding of other people's feelings. So it's not just, it's complex. Emotions is complex. We will learn more in detail later on, okay? Not today, but another training. And sometimes these feelings differ from other people. We as adults grow to understand that we may be in the same situation, but we may feel differently. The children's earliest social and emotional experience is determined by what we do here at StartRight. This is their first time experiencing, their first time expressing their feelings, so we need to make sure that they feel safe. Alright, so we set the stage for the rest of their lives. Now, if you look into the content, social and emotional covers emotions. How children express the emotions, and later on we teach them how to label the emotions. E, building relationships with adults, how they get to know you first. When they come into the center, especially when they are younger, they won't immediately make friends first. The teachers are usually the first comfortable friend that they will learn how to make. Then only they will start to socialize. That's my observation. Okay. F, building relationships with other children. G, community. They learn that, oh my goodness, there's so many other children here in school. I'm not the only child in the world. You mean I'm not? There's so many other children who are around my age. Wow, and we do things together. So that's the whole idea of community. Conflict resolution. Arguments happen. They don't want to share. They just cannot understand why you are upset with me, I'm upset with you. So we need to teach children conflict resolution as well, and adults have to learn conflict resolution as well, because we cannot hold our tantrum forever, right, against one another. So it's good to resolve those conflicts as well. Physical development and health. Physical growth happens naturally. As much as it's a natural process, children need the appropriate environment, the appropriate experiences to develop physically. They need to learn how their body works. They need to learn how to take care of their own body, and this is their body, their health, it's their responsibility. Alright, health is such an important subject for children, and teaching them how to exercise, teaching them how to eat right at a young age is an important habit to begin with. Children learn to take responsibility for themselves. What we feed ourselves today affect our future years to come. So we can also teach children about diseases, taking care about your internal organs, heart, lungs, and everything. But of course, when they are babies, focus on their outer, what they can see. And when they're older, talk about the function of the lungs, the function of the heart. I would recommend to start maybe about 3 plus 4 years old. Alright, as soon as they develop their understanding, be quick to talk about how to take care of their bodies. For younger children, we start by brushing their teeth and talking about how they take care of themselves, changing their diaper. So much conversations can happen in the classroom with physical development and health. So when we look into the content menu, you see I, J, and K. I, gross motor skills. Gross motor skills is talking about large movement. Generally, when children run, when they jump, they swing. Think about Lee Chong Wei, Datuk Lee Chong Wei, as he plays the badminton as a jump, and then he uses the badminton racket to just smack the shuttlecock. So that is gross motor skills. Fine motor skills talks about finger muscle movements that children used to write. They do little art and crafts. Generally, when they do sewing and everything, those are fine motor skills. Alright? Personal care and healthy behavior talks about overall health and exercise. So we can teach them in school, because actually in school we have a great influence on children. Children listen to teachers a lot. Alright? So we also have to be role models. Eating vegetables, that's why StartRight we practice eating together, because we want to show them we eat vegetables and fruits. Okay? Alright, next one, language literacy and communication. Communication happens every day through their actions. If the young kids don't know how to speak yet, like infants, they show you the action, and that is their way of communicating. There is spoken language, there is written language. All humans need to communicate. All human need to communicate. The earliest signs of communication begins through their eyes, what they see and what they hear. And then sounds will begin to come out from infant's mouth. The ah, ooh. Those are the earliest signs of communication. From the ah and the ooh, language begin to develop. Children start to say little words, just one word, and then later on they learn how to speak in sentences. Preschoolers will then learn how to decipher symbols. What does this alphabet mean? What is this alphabet? It looks so strange, just lines, and this is letter M. Oh, this is O. So they learn how to decipher symbols, reading and writing alphabets. They use words then to exchange ideas. And then they use feelings and friendships. They use words to exchange their ideas, feelings, and friendship. Conversation happens that will help establish relationship that may last a lifetime. Here in preschool or playhouse, they learn how to communicate, and this communication is going to bring them through a lifetime. Amazing, isn't it? Alright, so if we look into the menu, you have language literacy and communication. LMNOPQR. LMNOPQR. Okay, so L, speaking. So generally there are stages to speaking, how children learn to speak. So you read up on that. Listening and comprehension. Listening and comprehension talks about whether the children understand what you're saying. When you read a story, do they understand what the story is about, or are they just reading? So listening and comprehension talks about whether the children can respond to what you're saying. Alright? And phonological awareness. Phonological awareness starts with understanding that there are sounds around you. Different object gives you different sounds. Later on, you learn that each alphabet gives us different sound. In Bahasa, phonological awareness is suku kata. Baba, biba, bu, cha, cha, chi, cha, chu, bi, eba, bi, iba. And in Mandarin is the a, e, o, u. Alright, so in every language there is a phonological awareness, and depending on what language you're teaching, make sure your children know how to make those sounds. Alright, phonological awareness. Alphabetic knowledge, whether they know the alphabets. We start off children with alphabets is not formally teaching them. This is letter A, this is letter B, this is letter C. So use a lot more toys and materials in the classroom if you have 3D alphabets, alphabet blocks, alphabet prints, or things that they can feel with the alphabets. Have that in the classroom, so when they're infants, toddlers, it's a good time to just begin to introduce to them. Alright, you don't have to force them to know what it is, but just a start. And focus on the phonics rather than the alphabets. We start off with the phonics first. Okay, we have reading. Early signs of reading for babies is looking at pictures. That's how they learn how to read. Later on, they will understand that, hey, there are actually words and spelling to this, and then they learn how to read words. Generally, reading in our center, we only start them about 4.5 years old, or depending on their capability. So we have a child called Quinton, who is 2.5. He could actually read a lot of books, and we had also Jordan, who could read all the signs when he was 3 years old. So if they can start early, let's start them early. If they can't, let's go according to their readiness. Alright? Book enjoyment and knowledge talks about how children enjoy reading books. I've seen a few StartRight children who are now 7 and 8, 9, 10 years old, and they love to read. They finish reading one book, they go to another book, and we want them to enjoy reading because books carry so much knowledge. R, writing. I'm actually going to detail. Writing is writing. Okay? Mathematics is more than just rote counting. Rote counting means reciting numbers without understanding the meaning of it. So as young as 1 and 2 year old children, they know how to rote count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3. And then when you ask how many fingers do I have, they're like 10. Alright, it means that children, they don't understand the value of it yet. So numbers is more than rote counting. Children love numbers very naturally, and they're born neutral about it. They learn to count, they learn shapes and geometry as they assemble their puzzles, and they build blocks. They explore measurements when they build their tallest tower. When children make patterns, in their tower, or they lay triangle, square, triangle, square, triangle, square, they are preparing themselves for algebra because they are making patterns. Right? Maths is all full of patterns. If you see the problem as of this pattern, then the solution is as of these patterns. Then they use numbers to answer their own question. They use it to collect information and analyze their data. For example, we use it almost every day. How many of you like hamburgers? How many of you like char kway teow? How many of you like chapati? And you use those data to prepare for your party. Data analysis. Of course, we've seen data analysis happening during the COVID season. Every day you look at their charts everywhere and tells us where is safe, where is dangerous, tells us how many deaths a day, whether or not we should stay at home. So data analysis is quite important in our lives as well. Alright. Creative arts. There are 4 components in the creative arts that we use here in StartRight. Art, music, movement, pretend play. For young children who are just developing language, art is a way to express themselves. They don't know how to use words and say I'm upset. They use coloring to help them express. In the early years, art should be an exploration. So don't teach them how to draw. Don't teach them how to color. Let them explore on their own. And later when they grow up, they can go for classes. But at least in the first 6 years, we want to make sure that they enjoy the process. And we want them to love the discovery rather than the performance. Alright, so when you think about art, number one, think about Picasso, Leonardo da Vinci. All their drawings, either they make sense or they don't make sense. That's art. Nobody taught them what to draw and do. They did it on their own, and that's what we want to do for children as well. Music. Think about Whitney Houston. Think about Mariah Carey. Okay, maybe they're a bit too old for you. Think Ariana Grande. I seriously don't know much. So you know all the ooh, all the singing, that is music for them. So be free to expose them to all sorts of music, whether they are Indian songs, Chinese songs, Malay songs. Music is about singing. Okay? Movement, you think about K-pop and how they dance, or the hip-hop. Did I say that again? No, but think about all the dancing that is going on the stage, and that's what we want children to do. We want them to explore how they can move without us teaching them how to move. We want them to just, you show me what you're gonna do. All right, that's movement. And pretend play. Pretend play is getting children to just imagine. All right, younger children explore art with their voices and with their bodies. Older children, they begin to explore and to represent their ideas with meaning, feelings, and to appreciate what art is in all forms. That's creative arts. Science and technology. Science is a process of observing and understanding the world. For younger children, children need to engage science with all their senses. By touching, by mouthing, by hearing, smelling, and seeing. When their senses are engaged, they begin to think, they begin to wonder, they begin to be curious and use critical thinking skills to understand what, how, why of all our natural world. With the observational skills, they make predictions. You know, the word hypothesis that we use in school, and draw conclusions and share their discoveries. In order to investigate and survive this world, children need technology and learn to use them. So that's science and technology. If you look to the contents page in your notes, BB, CC, DD, EE. Observing and classifying, where children begin to sort. This is blue, this is yellow, this is green, and they sort it according to colors. They can differentiate what is similar, what is different. Okay? CC, experimenting, predicting, and drawing conclusions. Basically, we want children to try out. And then they, as they grow older, they'll be able to predict, I think when I do this, this is the next outcome is going to be. And drawing conclusions. DD, natural and physical world. We want children to love nature. The very beautiful things that have been created around us. EE, tools and technology. We are living in a world where everything is so advanced these days. It's not just about the iPad and the iPhones. We're also talking about tools that we use on a daily basis. Hammer, spatula, magnifying glass. Okay, using all these things to explore and to experience the world. Social studies. Who are you? Who am I? Social studies is about learning who we are and how we fit into this big world. You and I, we are so different. Children need to understand who they are, who is around them, where they live. You know, younger children understand things that are close to them. And then slowly when they are older, they begin to understand, oh, I have a larger family. I belong to this community. I live in this area and I belong into this world, and I live in Malaysia and I live in this planet Earth. You know, as they grow older, things go larger. And even location become unfamiliar. Where is Africa? You don't see around you. They learn about larger location, unfamiliar location. Over time, they will learn concept of time. Last time, a long time ago, now, or the future. Okay? They eventually learn there and then. The content areas I've shared with you is just a brief highlight. We will be diving deeper into the details into the content areas in the next few trainings. For now, we will just move on to the technical parts of COR Advantage and how to write anecdotes. Before we do that, I just want to talk about how to observe children. The moment when we talk too much to children, it's the other way around. Children are observing us. And in the high scope environment, in the StartRight environment, we want children to do things and then we observe them. So it's more reverse. So how do we observe children? Let's use the acronym SOUL. S, silence. Just watch. Be there and watch. Be close to them and watch. Don't be far away and watch, because if not, then we will just be a babysitter sitting far away in the corner and just letting children play, and that's not a good relationship. Okay, so just watch. Next one is observation. Observe means you look and you watch what they're doing. You understanding, trying to understand why are they doing what they do. Okay, L, listening, is to listen to what they are saying. And if you need to, you can ask them questions about what they are doing to understand further. So we use SOUL, and don't go there and asking them so many questions. What are you doing? How tall is your building? What are you doing it for? It's like interrogation, and that's scary. So just try to quietly listen, observe, understand, and listen to children. Alright. I would like to think of the word development as a game of playing Candy Crush. Alright, I used to play Candy Crush a long time ago and I just quit. But anyway, that's not the point. We start off Candy Crush at level 1. They teach you how to play the game, they teach you how to match. They teach you what is that power ball, or whatever it is, what can they do. I cannot remember, it's been a long time. And then when you win that level, you go to the next level, and then they'll teach you a new game, or they teach you a new power. I really cannot remember how it works, but you roughly know what I'm saying. And then you move on to the next level and you win it. As you go deeper into the game goes harder, more complicated, and sometimes if you can't beat the level, then you get stuck there until you try again and beat it. It's the same thing as development. We try one thing and then it gets harder, and we grow along that process. So that is the meaning of development using Candy Crush game. Alright, so think about when we give children something to do, give it to them at the very easiest stage. If they're infants, give it to them at the very easy stage and just let them explore and to play with it, and then give them harder materials or more challenging thoughts or whatever it is. But think about that development process, okay? Right, well, like Candy Crush game, the COR Advantage has 7 levels, okay? Because we're only looking from infant to kindergarten years, we are not looking to adulthood yet. So not like Candy Crush is like maybe 30,000 levels, I don't know how many levels, but COR Advantage has got 7 levels. These levels ranges in between birth to kindergarten. The lower levels, level 0 to 2, generally is for the younger development children. Alright, and then when you go older, level 2 to 5, they are generally between ages 2 to 4 years old maybe. Alright, at level 3 to 7, can you see the color going darker? The children could be ages 4 to 7. This range is a general guideline. There will be children who develop faster. There are children who develop slower. One thing about the COR Advantage, it doesn't discriminate child's development, and rather it encourages the teachers to plan to help the child progress. Alright, so these levels act as a guide. It tells us where the child is at, so that we can plan for the next lesson according to the child's development, and the ranges opens up for children with all sorts of development. This COR Advantage also tells us that it's a continuous process. You go from level 1 all the way to level 7 and it goes on and on. Alright? Anecdote. I want to talk about the word anecdote before we move forward. You're going to hear this quite a lot, and this is the definition from Merriam-Webster Dictionary. It means a short narrative of an interesting, amusing, or biographical incident. Meaning to say, it's a short description of an incident. It can be interesting, it can be funny, or it can just be informative. Okay, we use anecdotes all the time. Sometimes not formally. When we say, Kakak Ella cooked yimin today with fishball. That's an anecdote. Or, yeah, I couldn't sleep last night because my husband snored in his sleep. That is an anecdote. It tells people what happened. Alright? An anecdote is a sharing of what you have observed or what you have seen. Alright. How do we use the COR? Here are some steps. Number 1, observe the child. Look with your eyes, listen with your ears. What are the children saying or what are they doing? As you play and talk with the children, gather your observation. Write them down. That's step 2. So number 1, observe the child. You have 2. Number 2, record anecdotes and collect other information. Write down what you saw and what you heard. Take photos. Take photos of them doing it. Take photos of their drawings. Take photos of their end products. Remember, we talked about in the last training, they have to smile with their products. Okay, and their creation. Use anecdotes as evidence to assign a core advantage score. So you're going to learn this later. How do you score them? So during these times, after children leave, while napping, during teachers' planning time, or you can put your anecdotes on your record book or your computer program. Assign a category and item. Use scoring guide to determine child's developmental level. So basically using the anecdotes that you have and assigning a score. So number 1, observe child. Number 2, record anecdotes, write them down. Number 3, assign a score. Number 4, regularly review your anecdotes and other core advantage data. So don't just write for the sake of writing and because you have to write, but look and see, have I missed a data? Have I missed a score? Oh no, I don't have patterns. That's usually the case. Oh no, I don't have phonological awareness. This is something that teachers always miss out. So be intentional in your small group time to put this in. Alright, and we talk about missing categories later. So you can have more anecdotes if there are not enough anecdotes, okay? Use the data. Share anecdotes among the teachers to plan the next activity or choose to share the anecdote with their family. Sometimes you can use that anecdote and share with the family and tell what has happened in the classroom and use the anecdotes, or choose to only share with the teachers. There are a lot of things that I observe and I only choose to tell the teachers because I don't think it may not be necessary for the parents yet unless I have a solution for it. So we observe, make sure you collect enough data. Don't just because of one incident you tell the parent and there's not enough information towards it. So make sure you see it a few times. Then if it's serious enough, then only talk to the parents about it, and it should come with a solution or a strategy to back that up. Okay, so that's how we use data and go like, okay, at this time, this has happened and we need to talk to you about it. Okay, so that is using anecdotes. Don't just because of one incident and then we label the child. Okay, so that's not right. You get what I mean? An anecdote has got 3 parts. An anecdote is just a string of sentences. An anecdote tells us what happened and what you have observed. Anecdotes is just like your small group time. There are 3 parts, remember? Beginning, middle, and end. Easy. Beginning, middle, and end. Okay, very quickly, the beginning of the anecdote should answer when, where, who. When did this happen? Where did this take place? Who is it you're talking about? Then the middle is, tell me what happened. Tell me what happened. What did she say? What did he say? This is like, Basically, you want to tell a story, your story has to answer all these questions, right? And then the end talks about, okay, what's the outcome? What happened in the end? How did it end? Did it end? Okay, so basically it's just 3 parts. Giving people just enough information. I'm going to break this down. Let's go. When? Oops, you see the cross over there? Just ignore that first. Right. The beginning. Let's start with when. Begin your anecdote with a date. Oops. Begin your anecdote with a date. 26 September 2021. If you are 2021, you have your board, 2021, don't need to put 2021, just 26 September. Okay? Then mention time. The time here refers whether is it large group time, small group time, choice time, outside time, meal time, planning, arrival, departure, work, snack time, bath time, changing time, nap time, music and movement. For preschool, you can use Bahasa class time, English class time, because there's just so many. But don't put 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, okay? Because 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock is really not relevant. But what time is it specifically for the day? You get what I mean? Alright. Don't put free time, play time, drinking water time, because here at StartRight there is no free time. Everyone is busy. Children come here and they are very busy. There's no free time. There's also no playtime, because when you say free time and playtime, people think, you go to school for what? So much free time, so much playtime. So we want to change it to during choice time. Okay, during small group time, large group time. Even if you are with a small group of children, just call it small group time lah. Okay, in the evening especially. Don't free time, don't play time, okay? And there's no drinking water time also, because there's just too much things to do in the day. Let's just use the word snack time. Alright, anyway, when exactly it should be, we use these times. Okay, so no free time, no play time, no drinking water time. I haven't seen other times yet. Maybe no toilet time also lah, huh? We just don't really have to mention toilet time. It's just bath or changing. And we don't really have a specific toilet time anyway. It's not in our daily routine. We'll talk about choice time, because choice time accompanies with plan, do, review. Okay, so when you use the term choice time in Brightview, don't just put choice time, but you can say what the child chose to do. For example, Kelly chose to work with the alphabet puzzles. Choice time means that the teacher knows the plan of the child and there is scaffolding involved. Okay, we don't use free time at StartRight because there is a negative connotation to the term free time in the center. It sounds like there is no supervision. The term is easily misunderstood. Alright, so the word choice time is a very precious time because it's a time where children choose what they want to do in the center. So when they choose what they want to do in the center, don't just put choice time in Brightview. Choose and say what they are doing at school. What are they learning with that material that they have in front of them? Okay, so that is choice time. So always remember to ask for children's plan when they are entering into a plan of choice time. Alright, next, where. So after stating the date, after stating the time, we state where. Now, only state where if it is an important information. Stating where in choice time is necessary because it gives us a hint about where the child chose to be in. It tells us where is his interest and what is his thought process. But if you're just doing small group time in your regular meeting place, you don't have to state where. Or if they're eating dinner, you don't have to state in a dining area because understood they're eating where they're supposed to eat. So some things are quite repeated. So you don't have to mention where. If it's the general routine, like let's take bath in the bathroom, like you don't have to say after taking bath, then just go straight to what you want to say. Okay. I also want to say that if they are keeping their bowls back in the kitchen, we can just say they brought their bowls back to the kitchen, but we don't have to say kitchen area. Because kitchen area is not a designated place for the children to be in, at least not for the younger children. So we try to avoid using that term. So you don't have to mention kitchen or toilet if it's really not necessary. Okay, so there's no kitchen area, there's no toilet area. Okay, now the next one is who. Who tells us who is involved in that incident or in that story? Was there a teacher? Was it just the child alone? Or was it with other children involved? Okay, if it's with the teacher, then we say the child and the teacher's name. Abu and Miss Lee. Here at StartRight, you can use Miss Lee or you can use Teacher Lee, whichever it is. I'm totally fine with that. Okay, Abu and Miss Lee. Or if it's with 2 or 3 friends, let's just go with Abu, Ali and Jamie are playing together. Or if it's more than 3 friends, I remember reading in anecdotes, wow, the whole 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 children's name all came out in the anecdotes. Don't have to mention everybody's name, just go Abu and friends. Short and sweet. Okay? Unless it's a very important thing, like there's an argument in between and you want to talk about it, then maybe you can bring up some of these names, but just talk about the main person here together with some main important characters. That's about it. Okay? Alright, so this is just an example that I've set up here. 26 September 2021, we talk about dates, we talk about time during small group time. Esme means who. Okay, that's just if she's alone. 26 September 2021 during large group time, because there's so many people in large group, you cannot name everybody's name, so Esme and friends. Okay, 26 September 2021 during choice time, because it's choice time, so I put the area at the house area, Esme. That's just the beginning, an introduction. Okay? What? Then we move into the middle section. What? What happened? What did the child do? What did the child say? Document the exact language if you can. Now I'm going to sound like some kepo auntie here because remember they usually kepo auntie give a lot of information, right? What happened? What did the child do? What did the child say? So you think of your middle section like that. Yes, tell what happened in between. Okay? Is there a problem or a conflict? So when you write, you are writing to tell of what? Is it a problem or is it a conflict? Explain what happened while being neutral. So don't say, that boy very naughty, he go and do this and do that. In our anecdotes, we have to be very neutral and just say what happened. This happened. Okay? The next point, is there a conversation between children? What did they say? So we also need to note down if there is conversation between children. The older they are, the more things they say. So we really have to either record it or quickly just jot down as they say, oh, this is important. Turn on your handphones and put voice record. Alright? Did a child tell you something? How did you respond? Write as a third person. So did the child tell you something? Sometimes the conversations happen between you and the child. So write that down as well. And how did you respond? So write down how you respond. Try to use proper grammar when you speak to children. And when you write down your response, be trying to use proper grammar as well. Write as a third person. That means when you write your anecdotes, don't use me, I tell the child this, I tell the child that. Is say, Miss Betsy said this to him. Okay? Was there a series of action by the child? Describe with detail. Sometimes children, especially when they're infants or toddlers, they don't talk a lot. They do a lot. So the series of action, basically we just write down after this, he does what, after this, he does what. I'm going to give you some samples after this. Alright? So, this is the same sample that I had just now. Alright, 26 September 2021. Look at the white bar. During small group time, Esme, that's the beginning, right? Date, where, and who. What happened? Use the paintbrush to paint a toilet roll. When she saw paint on her hand, she said, teacher, see, my hand red color. So that is what happened in that small group time. So this is the middle part. I'm just saying what happened. The next one, 26 September 2021. During large group time, Esme and friends. This is with who? With a few friends, right? Or all her friends. Esme and friends were listening to Teacher Ika reading Where's My Mommy? Esme shook her head as the bunny asked a frog, are you my mommy? Esme shook her head. Okay, so I'm just saying what did she do. This is actually more for listening and responding, means actually Esme is concentrating, and when the bunny is asking the frog, are you my mommy? Esme is responding by shaking her head. I wasn't there, But I'm just guessing, and this is just an example. I'm just assuming that I saw it. I pretend that I was there. But generally, you want to write what really happened and when you were there. Okay, so these are just some examples I'm writing up for you. Alright, 26 September 2021. Remember we talked about choice time, talking about where they are. And Esme was at the house area. She placed the strawberry and bread on a plate. Walk to teacher Ika. This is the sequence. Remember we talked about the sequence? She placed the strawberry and bread on a plate. Walk to teacher Ika and said, "Teacher, eat strawberry cake." Teacher Ika took the plate from her, pretended to eat and said, yummy strawberry cake. Alright, so when we want to write anecdotes, we spell according to how we hear. Strawberry cake. Let's say if I hear it like that, I will spell it according to like that. And then what did the teacher respond? The conversation that took place, write that down. Okay, so that's the middle section. The end. The end section tells us what happened in the end. What is the outcome? How is the problem solved and is the conflict resolved? So don't leave the reader hanging. Okay? We highly encourage teachers to engage children in problem solving and conflict resolution. I'm going to teach you how, but not now, in a separate session. It's under adult-child interaction. And it talks about how do we raise children to be problem solvers and get them to solve child-sized problems. Just remember this. Children need to solve child-sized problems before they can solve adult problems. Alright, they need to engage and practice conflict resolution. Whether or not they are infants, toddlers, they learn. We teach them how to resolve conflicts. And it doesn't matter you're a child or an adult, we need to have conflict resolution. Okay? So going back to the end section, the end tells us briefly how it ends and what happens after that. Here are some examples. Okay, this would help the reader to have a closure and move on. Don't leave the reader hanging. Apa jadi after that, you know? Okay, so the example that we used just now, small group time. Esme used a paintbrush to paint a toilet roll. When she saw paint on her hand, she said, "Teacher, see my hand, red color." And then hanging. We continue by saying she then went to wash her hands, or if it really happens, she painted her hand after that, it could also happen. So just say what happened after that. Okay? Next one. 26 September 2021, during large group time, Esme and friends were listening to teacher Ika reading Where's My Mommy? Esme shook her head as the bunny asked the frog, "Are you my mommy?" There is no end. I didn't put anything behind here because nothing else happened after that, so I just left it. And it's okay if there is no end, you can leave it blank. It doesn't matter because this is more of listening and comprehension. Alright, she's most likely did level, not important, later on. 26 September 2021, just talking about the end. During choice time, Esme was at the house area. She placed the strawberry and bread on a plate. Walked to teacher Ika and said, "Teacher, it's strawberry cake." Teacher Ika took the plate from her, pretended to eat and said, yummy strawberry cake. This one we can end there, but if there is a continuation, you can just add another sentence and say, Esme smiled and returned to the house area to prepare more food for teacher Ika. So it tells us that she's going to continue doing it. Okay, that means she's enjoying that relationship that she has with Ika, and she went back and serve her a different kind of food. That was the outcome. So that's just a few examples that I really wanted you to understand. Something has got an ending, something they don't have an ending. Alright, how to write a good anecdote? It takes a lot of practice. Okay, just don't be afraid to start writing. Number 1, think about what the child said and did. So the focus is on the child. Number 2, be specific. Be specific means don't focus on your opinions. Don't focus on what other children think. Focus on what the child is doing and focus on the KDI and the COR. Why are you writing this anecdote? Follow back the COR and the KDI. Number 3, be brief. Brief means give enough information, not too little, not too much information. That means be short and sweet. Okay? Some things are understood, so you don't have to keep repeating. So we have to be careful not to keep repeating some things. I'll give you an example after this. We're going to do some exercises. You'll be able to understand what I'm saying. The next one is to use past tense. Past tense means these are things that you have reported and you have seen and heard, so it has already happened. So in your anecdotes, use said, painted, used, knocked, drank, was, were, because these are all has already happened. Nasi sudah jadi bubur, 已经发生的事情. So we use past tense. Okay? A very, very important tip is keep to the facts. Tell what really happened. If the child fell, hit or took something, restate as is. Do not add your opinions. Always make sure that you think ini pendapat atau fakta. If it's a pendapat, that means if it's your opinion, don't put it in. No opinions in the anecdote. 这是意见还是事实? So you got to really make sure that it is a fact, not an opinion. Okay, so next time people tell you something, this I'm just going to talk a little bit. When people talk to you about something and they give you an information, you got to think, is this an opinion or is it a fact? Especially if you hear a rumor or something that you don't know whether it's true, always ask, is this an opinion or is this a fact? Okay, that's just my 2 cents. Alright, so in your anecdotes, don't put in your opinions. This girl very clever, she can climb very high. Or this girl is clever, she can solve all the puzzles. These are words that maybe we use in our daily interactions that I would think don't use it at all because this is opinion. Alright, or whether the boy is naughty or the boy is good or bad, let's not even value the child good or bad. We just talk about the actions that will do. Okay? The next one is do not add in adjectives. Adjectives is like big, small, tall. For example, he made a tall building. You know, you have your notes there with you. I just want you to take a pen and just minus off the word tall. Just say he made a building. You don't have to mention tall because how tall is tall? KLCC tall, that building? Or is it just this size? You know, it's very vague. So if you really want to talk about how tall the building is, maybe you can just talk about how many blocks he used. He used 50 Legos, for example. So this becomes fact. Okay? Not opinion. Instead of saying beautiful drawing, explain the strokes and colors of what the child drew. So you just state as it. So when I tell children about their drawing, I don't tell them, wow, your drawing is so beautiful, so nice. Because that is giving our values and opinion to the child. The child needs to know that their own drawing is nice. It doesn't need to come from you. The child needs to know it themselves. Alright, so when the child comes to you with a drawing, don't say, oh, beautiful, so nice. Because where is the learning in the beautiful and nice? So we can just say, I see you use red, you use blue, you use green. Oh, look, there is purple. You use purple. So I would usually describe the drawing rather than saying it's beautiful or nice, because giving beautiful and nice, there's no learning in there. So I focus on maybe the strokes. Wow, you drew a line. Or you drew a house. Maybe the house don't look like a house. It's okay. It's a process that matters. Okay? So artistic, so beautiful. Don't use those words. Okay? Wow, this is terrible. The worst I've seen. Wow, sing so loud, my ear pain. All these things are opinions and may not be a fact. Okay? I don't know why I got so excited and my script is saying, sing so loud until my ear pain. Dance so hard, excited, gila. So all these terms, don't put in your anecdotes because this is opinions. Just say he sang. He danced. Okay? If the child is happy, we are not going to write in our anecdote the child is happy. We just say what he did that show you that he was happy. For example, he's smiling, he's laughing, he's giggling. So instead of saying he's very sad, we just say he cried, he teared, or he sat near the gate. That's it. State what it is exactly. Don't add in opinions, don't add in adjectives. Okay? Next thing would be needing to capitalize names. So grammar is important and it takes practice. Like I said, don't worry about writing it wrong. Most importantly, you capitalize the names. Alright, so like for example, 26 March 2021, during choice time, Isaiah and Caleb were playing at the computer area. After switching on the computer, Caleb did not know how to run the monitor. Isaiah showed him and said, press the black button over here, push it inside. So capitalize the names, and after every sentences, you're going to start a new sentences. Make sure you have your capital letter there. Okay, the next sample would be use quotation marks for speeches. So 26 March 2021, during choice time, I was just using Isaiah's anecdotes. Okay, so this is conflict resolution anecdote. Okay, so they have speeches and conflict in between. So this is actually a good conflict example. Alright, I'm going to use this. During choice time, Isaiah was playing at the block area with Benjamin. They were making a fort. Benjamin wanted to make his apartment with a fish pond inside the fort using stones, but Isaiah did not like that idea. Isaiah said, I want to make the soldier camp here, and I want to use the wooden blocks. There is no fishing pond in a fort. He wants to use wooden blocks. There's no fish pond in a fort, so that is their conflict. One want to build fish pond, one want to make a soldier camp. They argued for a while, and Benjamin insisted having the fish pond. Isaiah then said, okay, I'm going to make the soldier fort besides the fish pond. Benjamin said, okay, I'm helping you. So they are resolving their own conflict. Okay? It tells us about what happened in between them and how they resolved the conflict. Do you get it? In a nutshell, this is how we write the date, say when, small group time, large group time, where, if you don't know the area, don't mention it, who is involved, how many children, don't have to say how many children, but who was there, whether it's the teacher, if then the next one is what and how, describe the content and the resolution if there is it's a problem or a conflict, but if not, then what happened in between, and if there's an outcome, state the outcome. Okay? Alright, how to take anecdotes in the classroom. I'm just going to go very quickly. Take anecdotes while you are playing with children and supporting their learning. So if they are doing their choice time or their work time, make sure you have something in your pocket, notepad in your pocket and a pen just to really jot down. So collect anecdotes as you teach the whole day. When they are doing things and you observe, you write them down. Jot down quick notes and use these tips. So use abbreviation short form. So like this is just an example. If I'm in a classroom, I have my notepad in my pocket, or maybe wear a sling or a pouch or whatever you want, and then just write out. That means outside time. Tyler hit the ball with Miss Anna and Benjamin. Hit 3 times, said it was fun, want to do it again. However, that you can write to make yourself understand. So you can write on a sticky notes or a small notebook. Wear clothes with pockets to put them in. These are just suggestions, okay? Set realistic goals of how many you want to take daily. Today I want to take 7 anecdotes for my group, 1 person 1. Or choose a specific area to focus in from the COR. Okay, which area you want to focus in today? I just want to write about numbers and counting. Okay, I'm going to just observe during choice time. I'm going to write about numbers and counting for all the children. Okay, you can select a child. Today, I just want to observe Tyler. Alright, focus on the core advantage category. That is what I mentioned just now. Here are just some photos that I've took during my time. And I save it all in Dropbox. I have their videos, I have their photos, I have the conversations with them, and whatever that I did in the classroom, these are all my portfolio. Alright, so I'm going to show you some videos as well. So enjoy watching the videos.
My favorite toy is T-Rex. She bought for me.
Who bought for you?
Daddy.
Daddy bought for you.
My favorite.
It's your favorite toy. Why is it your favorite toy?
My favorite toy is T-Rex. My phone. This is my phone. You have shark teeth. Like T-Rex. So you can eat bat meat. Bat meat. Or did you eat bat meat?
That's all the samples I can show you. I just want to let you know that I did not show or share these videos to parents. I only kept them for my personal view. The reason why I kept this video to myself is because I really want to observe the children and use it for my own anecdotes only. Alright, so here are just some more examples of anecdotes that I've written. Just so you know, I'm not exactly there watching this. I just took some pictures of Brightville, but I am just stating what I see. Alright, 30th April 2019, during small group time, Aiden was making a birthday cake with Play-Doh. He rolled, these are the sequence of action, flattened the dough with his fingers and placed it on a plate. He then stuck 3 tools, a popsicle stick, satay stick, and a Play-Doh cutter as candles. He showed teacher and his friends his birthday cake. Alright, so I scored this fine motor skills level 3. Emery and Ellery. I'm using their samples. Like again, I wasn't in this classroom, but I'm just stating what I see. Example, 5 January 2020. During small group time with ice cubes. So I used during small group time with materials, with ice cubes. Emery grabbed the green cube with her right hand and watched the water dripping from it. That's what I see. Alright, so you know, when you think about small group time and you want to tell parents what small group time you are doing, just say during small group time with whatever materials that you're using. So think about when you want to describe your small group time, describe small group time with materials. Okay? 5th January 2020, during small group time with ice cubes, Ellery picked up the red cube. She looked at it and put it in her mouth. After that, she dropped it down and picked up a green cube. Okay, so basically I score her at patterns because she took one and then she took another. Pattern is one another. And also BB, classifying and observing and classifying level 0. These are babies. Okay. Alright, let's pause this video for 15 minutes. We're going to do a group work and you will have to discuss and spot mistakes in the anecdotes attached to your notes. Pause this video for 10 minutes, and if you don't know the answer for it, it's okay, skip it, because we are going to review it the next round. Alright. Alright, let's review. I hope you got to discuss some things with the teachers. Alright, anecdotes with mistakes. The first one, question 1, 28 November. During work time, Ellie placed 4 large blocks side by side, stood up on them, and jumped off, saying, "I'm bad girl!" She did a good job taking turns with Sari when she wanted to jump off too. So what is the mistake here? She has got a time, she has got mentioned what she did in sequence. The mistake here is saying that she did a good job taking turns. Now, we mentioned just now no opinions, right? We have to be neutral. So I would just say she took turns with Sari when she wanted to jump when she wanted to jump off too. Okay? So don't value and don't give your opinions in the anecdotes. Question 2, 26 April. During work time in the art area, Hannah held the marker correctly and wrote Hannah on an envelope. I would minus the word correctly because this is also an opinion. What do you mean by correctly? So if you want to mention, you just mention holding a pincher grip if that's what you mean. So we state as it, okay, rather than wrongly, correctly. So, or either that, just don't mention. Hannah held the marker and wrote Hannah on an envelope, H-A-N-N-A-H. Question 3, 12 March. During tummy time, Isaac was playing on the floor with a ball. He purposely pushed the ball with his right hand and then scooted toward the ball. Once he reached the ball, he purposely hit it again. So here, we do not put the word purposely. Okay, there's 2 purposely because this is just a baby. The intention and why he chose to do something, it's really not important. Okay? So we just say he pushed the ball with his hand and then scooted towards the ball, because purposely can also be our value and our judgment. Okay? Sengaja ni, you know. So it's an intention that we don't know whether the child purposely or not, but he did push the ball. So that's not important. So just go, he pushed the ball with his right hand and scooted toward the ball. Once he reached the ball, he hit it again. That's it. No need to put purposely in front. Alright, question 4. After work time, Zoe was whiny and started crying for her mom. Alright, so I would remove the word whiny because what does it mean? What does whiny mean? Alright, so I would just say Zoe started crying for her mom. That's all. Don't need to mention the whiny bit. Okay, because this is your opinion that she's whiny. Maybe she was singing, you know. So it's opinion. Okay. Question 5. 1st July. When the toddlers were walking to the meal area, Colin waved to a woman he never saw before and said hi. When the toddlers were walking to the meal area, Colin waved to a woman he never saw before and said hi. I would question, he never saw before. How do you know he never see before? This is just a toddler, you know. Maybe it's his neighbor, maybe it's his auntie. You know, we don't know who this lady is. So I would just skip it and say wave to a woman and said hi. Okay, because he never saw before. It's an opinion. Unless the child say, I never see you before, hi. Then we can put that down. Number question 6, 5th October. Okay, my answer came out already. During tummy time, Simon stretched his hands and reached for the white teddy bear. So basically this is a grammar issue. You started off, not you, but the person started off with Simon stretched, past tense, his hand, and then he should continue on with another past tense, reached, ed. Question 7, 5th April. During choice time at the house area, Faith pretended to cook soup and made coffee for Teacher Penny. She had difficulty opening the milk bottle cover. He came to me and asked, "Can you open for me the cover?" When I helped her, she took the bottle to the table and pretended pouring the milk into a cup to make some coffee. Were you able to spot the mistakes? Many more grammar. Okay. So firstly, Faith is a girl, and talking about her having a difficulty opening the milk bottle cover, and so all of a sudden it became a he. Alright, dah jadi lelaki ni. Okay, so we have to make sure that if we're talking about the girl, we're gonna make sure it's a she. Okay. Alright, she came to me and asked. All of a sudden, Teacher Penny became a me. Remember that we always need to write as a third person. Alright, and then later on she said when I helped her. So I know Teacher Penny is the one who wrote the anecdote, but she needs to write as though she's a third person. So it will say she came to Teacher Penny and asked, can you open the cover for me? When Teacher Penny helped her, she took the bottle to the table and pretended pouring the milk into a cup to make some coffee. So basically, don't use me or use I even if you're writing the anecdote. Write as though you are another person and you are seeing yourself do it. Okay? Seeing another person who looks like you. Okay? 21st April. During arrival time. Okay. This one is a long one. 21st April. During arrival time, John came into the playhouse straight away. Went into the room to put his bag. He took out his laundry bag and towel from his bag and kept them in the kitchen. Then he took out his water bottle and kept his bag on the bag on the shelf, on the back shelf. Lastly, he went to the dining table to get ready for his breakfast. There's just so much things going on. Okay, so if you see sentences like this, some things can be cut short and it can be brief. Alright, so sequences can be placed together. So the child came into the playhouse and he went to the laundry room to put his bag. This one is very common, I see all the time. Okay, that's why I'm using this as an example. He took out his laundry bag and towel from his bag and kept them in the kitchen. Then he took out the water bottle. Basically, the whole idea of this is just trying to tell the reader that this boy can do things on his own. Okay, he's independent, meaning to say he's independent and he knows he knows the preparation of the day, and this should come under community. Okay, so what I wrote here, I would change this and I put when John arrived to the playhouse, he went into the room to put his bag and took out his laundry bag, towel, water bottle. So I don't have to mention how many times he go in and out the room and pergi sini pergi sana, too many. So just straight away I would say the room. He went into the room to put his bag and took out his laundry bag, towel, water bottle. And water bottle. He placed his laundry bag and towel in the changing area, then took his water bottle to get ready for breakfast. Okay, so this is just mainly putting things more together rather than too many going in and out. So many bag here, bag shelf here, take out this bag, that bag. Oh, confusing. Alright. Now, group work 2. Turn to page 10 in your notes. And there in your notes, I've separated into materials, children actions, and children's speeches. Okay, and what I want you to do is to go to Jamboard again. And with this, separate yourself into 3 groups. One for materials, one for actions, and one for speeches. And organize this into the categories. With this practice, you'll be able to understand which category belongs to which KDIs or which COR. Then when you want to do scoring, it's going to help you much more. So this is a practice. So pause this video for 15 or 20 minutes if you need to. Just do it together and don't think so much into it. Just put it into the categories. See you back later. Alright, so how to score? Number 1, you will need to select your core category. You have been writing your anecdotes. Make sure that your anecdotes is on the specific core already. Like you got to be specific with what are you writing and what is it about. What is the action? What is the materials? Remember you did that practice just now. And what did the children say? So based on that action, select your core category. Is it approaches to learning? Is it social and emotional development? Is it mathematics? Is it creative arts? Is it science and technology? It depends on what you wrote. Alright, number 2, choose a score item. Does it have to do with emotions? Does it have to do with building relationship with adults? Is it experimenting? What did the child do? go according to the item. And then number 3, select the level of development that best represent your anecdotes. Okay, so like you remember we talked earlier, I showed you the chart with level 0 to level 7. Think about the age group that you are teaching and which level that you think that the child should be in. And most importantly is based on what the child did as well. Choose the level that best represent the anecdotes. Okay, this one you need to do a little bit of reading. So if you're not sure which level would this go, sometimes it also means that there is not enough information to that. So if you have more information, it's easier to score. Okay? That's why it says must have one clear, high quality anecdote that supports the developmental level identified. When in doubt, collect additional anecdotes. Alright, so what are we looking at here? Basically, I mentioned earlier that there are core categories, the ones that are highlighted in green, and those labeled A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, all the way until J, J, these are core items. Alright? Here's the next page that I want to show you as an example. Alright, so we mentioned mathematics is a category. Numbers and counting, this is an item. Alright, and we have level 0, level 1, level 2, level 3, all the way until level 7. When we want to update the parents, you will need to update parents based on the black headers here. Child looks at, touches, or handles a single object. So you don't tell them the levels, you only tell them that Amy looks at, touches, or handles a single object. Or it can be Amy says how many more or fewer are in one set than in another set. So this is the exact development that we want to tell parents, not their level. Okay? So basically when you plan for small group time, use these levels to plan for small group times. And if they are generally of the younger age, you focus on level 0, 1 and 2. And if your children is slightly on the pre-K age, then we go level 2 to level 3 and 4. Or we can go, for older kids, we can go to level 5 and do things based on level 7. So whether you're an infant, toddler, pre-K or preschool, make sure when you do your small group time or your large group time or your thematic activity for preschool, use one of these as your guide. Alright, if you are not sure which level belongs to your child, then I would suggest that you read these descriptions. This description and sample will actually guide you and tell you which level your child is at. So do not only look at the bolded words, you need to look at these descriptions because it tells you what's the difference with this level and the next level. Alright? Also, we do not tell parents the level simply because the level wouldn't make any sense to them, but the level is for our understanding and is among teachers' conversations only. So frequently asked questions. If you cannot decide on the level, you read the sample anecdotes for help. So when you look into the anecdotes, use the sample written at the bottom here with the date. Those are samples. Okay? And the description written here. Next one, is there a missing info? Gather more information, because if you really cannot decide on the level, cannot decide on the anecdote, something must be wrong somewhere. So gather more information. The next one, we look for a different item. Maybe it's not in that. If you cannot find which level it is, maybe it's not even that category. Okay? Next one is choose the lower of the two levels. Let's say if they are stuck in between two levels and you're not sure which one is it, choose the lower level if you are not sure. Alright. Anecdotes though doesn't match. If the anecdotes don't match with the core category like what I mentioned just now, then maybe it's just not part of core, but just write it down. It may be just useful information for sharing with your teachers or planning or sharing information with families. Do I need a level 1 before I can score something at level 2? The answer is no. Score according to the abilities and at different development levels. Sometimes if the child comes in at 5 years old, they're actually quite mature. So you don't score at level 1, level 2 anymore. Look at where they are at and score according to where they're at. Anecdotes fits with more than one item. Sometimes the anecdotes have got more than one category, so you can cross-reference it. You can use the same anecdotes with, for example, this is a language one and there's also an art one. Okay, so you can cross-reference it. Next one is, once an item is scored, can I forget about it? Well, if you already scored the item, keep it for your observation and you just continue to review what you have scored previously. Alright, so if there is a missing data, so what should you do if you have a missing data? For example, you have most of the things, but you're missing out patterns, for example. So number 1 is plan to look for the missing core items. That means observe the child more. Okay, am I forgetting to look at this item? So plan to look for the missing core item from the child. Okay, number 2, add item related materials into the areas. Sometimes if there is a missing data, means the child is not playing with it, may also mean that there is not enough of that materials in the classroom. So think about, for example, patterns. What are the materials for patterns? You can Google that. And do you have that materials in the classroom to support that play? Number 3. So what you can do in number 3 is to plan an activity, small group time or large group time. So look at what activity you can do with the children to fill in that missing data. Keep the activity open-ended and remember that you got to put that child's development in your mind, whether the child is ready to do that development or not. You got to think about the capabilities before you do it. Remember we talked about this small group time the last time, that when you do a small group time, it should already be at the child's level. That means the child already should know how to do it, rather than you have to teach and you have to talk so much. So really small group time, it's really where the child is at. So it's the same thing with COR. Think about the children's developmental range and plan according to their development, and then when you communicate and scaffold them, you move your way up from there. Okay, so the other one is be okay with the children who may take the activity to a different direction. Sometimes they don't understand the objectives of it yet, meaning to say they are not ready for that yet. So maybe they're at a lower level. So you do your activities based on a lower level, maybe a level 1 or level 2, depending on where they're at. The next point is, do not set up testing type situations. Don't put them in the spot and go like, is this A? What is this? What is this? What is this? It creates a lot of pressure for young children. We don't do that with you adults as well, yeah? So what we're going to do is we want you to just practice writing these anecdotes, and just wherever you are, just start. Okay? So that is your missing data. Well, that's all for today. You can now begin to observe and write anecdotes in Trello. You choose your date, when, where, who, what, how, and the ending. This is how you write the anecdotes. And for how to score, select the core category, look for the core item, and choose the level that best represent your anecdotes. Okay, that's all. So if you have any more questions, remember to email me. I remember earlier in the training we asked you to write down your questions at the back of your notes. If you have any questions, please email me. Alright, always here to help you, and I'll see your anecdotes in Trello. Don't be afraid, just write whatever you can, whatever you know, and we'll work from there. Alright, slow and easy wins the race.